When you are looking to administer and manage virtual machines from Windows Azure, you do have a couple of options, and one of the ways that you can access the system is by using a standard remote desktop connection. And that one is actually set up by default. So the first thing we're going to do is just double check that. So here is our virtual machine already running. And if we go to the endpoints section, we'll see that remote desktop is already there on port 3389. And that actually works by default now. I have heard some people say that you have to change that port from what you get by default, but as long as it's using 3389, there shouldn't be any issues. So with that working, you do want to make sure that you can actually remote into the system. But the one we're going to have a look at here is actually using PowerShell. But there's a fair amount of configuration that has to be done for this to work. So we do actually need both of them. So we're going to go back to the dashboard for starters. And from the dashboard, the other thing that you'll need right off the bat is the full DNS name here. So what you want to do is just drag across this and copy all of that, because we're going to be referencing that when we try to get in. But as far as setting up the virtual machine itself to accept the PowerShell connections, you do have to do a couple of things. So if you just hit your connect option here, that will pull up a remote desktop. Now I already got mine running, so you can just open this when it prompts you. I'm just going to cancel this though, and there is mine that's already running. So from the Azure virtual machine that we've remoted into now, you do have to do a couple of things. So what you want to do is launch a command prompt administratively, run as administrator, and then from in there, you're going to want to set up this command right here, the winrm quick config. So that automatically creates the necessary configuration to accept incoming administrative connections. So I've already run this, and you can see what happens here, that the WinRM remote management is not set up to receive requests on this machine. So that's the state of it by default. So it just prompts you, are you sure you want to do this? So you say yes. That has been updated to receive the request, and then it also asks you if you want to create the appropriate firewall exception right here. So you want to say yes to that as well. As long as both of those are accepted, it creates the listener automatically, and the firewall exception is enabled. And you can see I've opened up my firewall in the background here, and there's the entry right there. So that has been enabled, and it even says, see here, it says Azure when I mouse over that. So with both of those set, now the system is ready to accept the requests, but there's another issue that has to be addressed. So I'm just going to minimize all of this. And back in here, you do have to go back and check your endpoints. So on the endpoints, you want to make sure you take note of what port is being assigned for the PowerShell access. So same deal, just take note of that. And then what you're going to want to do actually is open up a browser, because what has to happen here is some certificate information has to be installed. So I'm going to pull up a browser here. And again, you can see I've already gone to the site, and there's the URL that I just copied earlier. So what you want to do is enter in that address and then the colon port number for the system that's using the PowerShell port, excuse me. But what we need to do here is actually the certificate information. So note that if I click on this here, I can view the certificate information, and because the system is using a self-signed certificate, you need to install this certificate on your local system. So you can go to details and you can copy to file. Now you can just go through these default wizard options and just specify a location. And again, I've already done this to speed things up, and I just plopped it on my desktop. Once you have it on your desktop, you can just right click on it and choose install, and it needs to go into the trusted root authority certificate store. Once it's in there, your system now trusts it. So with that, I can launch a PowerShell session, and there's the command again that I've already entered in here. So enter PS session. Computer name is our same fully qualified name here. Port specified as 5986, and then the credential that you need to use, and then you also have to have this use SSL. So now that the certificate has been installed on this system, I can do all of that. I can enter that command, I should get my prompt, and I just have to enter my password. And in I go. So I have now accessed that system on Azure. I can now run PowerShell commandlets, any kind of command. So just something very quick. Let's get the services. Oops, get service. So there's the state of our system here. So again, you have to go through a fair amount of stuff to get it set up. But once it is, and once it's done and your system trusts that certificate, you can now PowerShell into that system and do anything that you can otherwise do with PowerShell.